All right. Welcome to the Standard Podcast here. I'm Thomas Rowe, and this is Aaron Charles, and we have a fantastic guest for you here today. And this is where we raise the bar. We rebuild the culture and call out the lies on what no one else will tell you. This isn't about motivation. This is a movement. My guest today is Maurice Ager, an NBA first-round draft pick, Grammy-nominated artist, CEO of multiple companies, including the Moe Ager. Is that it? Ager?
Ager.
Moe Ager Hoop
Yeah.
School
It's cool.
and Moe Ager Show Enterprises. My God. With the courts, from the courts of Detroit to the Dallas Mavericks, Minnesota Timberwolves, and the New Jersey Nets. And he's now building platforms that inspire the next generation across sports, music, fashion, and beyond. We're diving into the truth behind what it really takes to build an identity, discipline, and legacy, but not just in sports, in life. All right, let's get into it. Moe, thanks so much for joining us. I'm super stoked to have you here. Both Aaron and I were excited all day, so thanks for making our day.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you guys having us.
Of course.
Let's go.
So tell me in your own words, what does raising the standard mean to you?
Oh man, that's a great question. And I appreciate the question because, standards, I would say that's something that we put on ourselves and I place on ourselves. We've fallen so much into the idea of everybody else's value and standards to a point where we lost our own personal standards. So I think the main thing is for you to actually establish those standards and what you want for yourself and what you see for yourself and what you would like to project yourself into this world as. A lot of times we show up, based off of other people's expectations instead of making it a point to make sure that I show up, okay, this is my standard, this is what I expect of myself. And understanding that the things that you expect for yourself is the only things that you can technically control. So therefore, setting high standards for yourself in all regards is so important because nonetheless, people are always looking at you. And if you're holding yourself to a certain standard, only you must report to and acknowledge. I think everything else will fall into its place because in the end, setting your own standards for yourself is your only. It should be your own I would say, expectation. I would say and motivation.
Sure.
Because you can't.
So obviously, when you played at Michigan State, the Mavericks, the Timberwolves, and the Nets, there was obviously a different culture. But I'm guessing your standard never changed because you knew who you are, and even though the culture was different, the players were different. You knew exactly who you were, and you weren't going to compromise your standard.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. Like even when you're younger, though, you're still learning and developing these things. So you get a chance to experience these things once you get a bit older. But I think the core standard for myself growing up was 100%, making sure I was staying close to my spiritual compass. And I just didn't necessarily feel like I needed to compromise that at any stage of my life. So, and that's a lifetime thing as well. So, playing at some of the highest levels and just performing in different realms, not only just with sports, you have to always make sure that you maintain those standards and those qualities and those principles that you learned over your times, growing up.
What do you think was the biggest lie, if you could say that, regarding culture and what the system has sold you, whether that was at Michigan State or the NBA or just the whole recruiting process? What would you say is the biggest lie?
I would say deceptions. I would say along the lines of there's a one size fits all for everybody.
Sure.
I feel like we all have, they say success leaves breadcrumbs, and we understand that. But when it's all said and done, everybody's route and everybody's experience is going to be different.
Sure.
I believe that there are certain blueprints when it comes to making the steps and taking the steps for success. But I ultimately realize that comparing ourselves to other people, that's one of the biggest lies that I would say they forced upon us, just growing up over these years, because, there's a fine line between competition with others versus understanding, okay, here's where I have a niche, here's where I'm different, and here's where I can show up and actually display myself in ways that are going to allow me to stand out. So for me, I don't believe in the whole idea of like, you got to do it this way in order to succeed. And I just 100% believe that, that's something that you have to figure out for yourself through trial and error.
I agree. Totally agree. Would you say that if there was a lie or if there was a deception, did that show up in college or did that show up in the pros?
Man, I would say, I think gradually over time, I guess if I think about the idea of what we may consider an American dream, if I had to just kind of like look at that and just kind of, peel back the layers on that, it just doesn't seem to stand up to the qualities of what everybody expected in terms of a American dream. So if I had to scale it back and say that there's a lie within that, I believe there is, because it's like it teaches you not to be independent. It kind of shows you that it needs you in order for that system to support itself in general, instead of people actually, fine tuning their own way and creating their own path for themselves in terms of, like I say, standards and what we may consider a lie is. So the American dream is not necessarily your security. You know what I'm saying? So
totally get it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we can go all day about that, but yeah,
right.
That's my take on that.
I appreciate it. ERIN, take it away. Get them.
Okay, well, I love my questions. I like my segments here. So beyond the NBA career, beyond your Grammy nominations, beyond all the titles, who are you? And how do you define character, integrity, and discipline?
Oof.
Man, yeah, that's a good question. So for me personally, I consider myself a vessel, a divine vessel of God, divine vessel of the Most High Source, allowing my life force energy to pretty much filter its way through this personality that we call Maurice. The personality is the idea of what you do. But in order for me to do the things that I do, I have to first be. So I have to first be a light. I must first be a clear channel for information and allow myself to be moved on inspiration that the divine put within me to carry myself in this world as a divine vessel and such. So it comes out as, the Moe Ager Hoop School. It comes out as the Moe Ager that play basketball with the Dallas Mavericks. But those are things that we do. But for who I am, I'm 100% pure energy, love, light, harmony, joy, alignment, wisdom, knowledge. You did what I'm saying? So
yeah, I love it. Speaking my language. I love it. How do you, I think, step into that, or how do you keep what I would call your frequency or your vessel so tuned in so that you can allow that to come through? Because I don't know if you've ever read the book, The Course in Miracles, but it's there's an element of like the ego speaks first and the ego speaks loudest. And it's that distillment between the energy and the essence of source and then our own identified self and who's really running the show.
Yeah, that's a very important thing to understand. I believe that, on the course of just self-mastery itself, the number one thing I believe we should understand that this is a lifetime thing. This is not something you conquer just because you figured out how to, manifest a house or something like that. No, this is something that you really have to embody. So for me personally, meditation is very important. Writing is very important. Monitoring my emotional signals is very important, because a lot of times our ego is 100% connected to the acclimatization of human conditions. Therefore, the ego is always trying to protect us. It always thinks that it has more to say than it should. But so ego checks is very important. And then recognizing what thoughts are ours and being able to decipher those thoughts and categorize them is very important. But I believe that's the real work in this world, man. I believe like the creative stuff is amazing, but being able to maintain your own personal mind and making sure your spiritual compass is yours and maintaining your vessel to be a clear channel for information and getting out here and operating from your purpose, that's half the battle. Because regardless of anything else, we're dealing with a lot of deception here in this world. So if we're doing the work to keep ourselves clear and making sure we're staying that clear channel, man, that's the most important thing. For sure.
I totally agree. So what does legacy beyond performance mean to you? How do you define your legacy, or what do you want your legacy to be?
Man, if I had to really, it's funny. Every time I think about that question, I think about Mike Tyson when he spoke to that little girl. I don't know if you saw that video, but
I haven't, but now I have to check it out because I want to know what this is.
Yeah, I mean, legacy itself is how many people I help. You know, did I leave an impact on people's lives? Where I was able to come into this world and actually move the hearts and inspire people to be the greatest version of themselves and be multidimensional, be limitless, be bountiful. Was I a great example at allowing myself to be exactly what I know myself to be as a well-versed divine being of the Most High? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, they talk about how like God gave us so many different talents and gifts. I really want to be an example for those people that like, listen, there's no limits. Utilize your talents. Figure out ways to have fun with it. Be creative with it. Utilize it to create greater relationships. So for the most part, man, I just want my legacy to just be of truth, authenticity, and genuine. Yeah. I'll have to go ahead and leave it there. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I think that's the highest frequency. I hear that often is being authentic. You know, what's the highest vibration we can be? If you've ever read the book, like the Hawking scale of consciousness, and authenticity is like the most important, but really knowing who you are is I think what that is. And so how would you give advice, or what's one truth you wish every young athlete or leader understood?
That they absolutely must get themselves first, get themselves right first. The imagination is very important. The time that you spend with yourself is very important. I believe in quality solitude. I believe in meditation. I believe in knowing your weaknesses, playing to your strengths. I believe that communication is one of the most underrated qualities that we have in this world. And it's something that can actually save a nation, communication, you know. So for athletes, I would definitely tell them to make sure that they're always staying tapped in with that imagination, because I wrote a book called Me, Myself, and Now, how I use my imagination to make to the NBA. And I would say some of the most sincere and precious times that I spent in basketball was when I was by myself and spending that time with, you know, just my thoughts, my own personal imagination, and just running through the different scenarios in my mind over and over again until eventually it begins to play itself out in my life. So recognizing that our inner state is everything. You know, if your inner state is in alignment, and you know, first and foremost, you're always going to be kind of swaying back and forth. There's never a time where you're just always in the middle lane. But I would say make sure your inner state is everything, because your inner state will 100% determine your outer state. So yeah, tap in with first. Inside out game.
In, kids, spend some time alone, visualize, fantasize, just go there, because that's real. I love that.
That's awesome.
It's the realest thing. Yeah. It's beautiful, you know, and I pride myself on that, you know, just whatever I'm like, just with the colors and in general, is like I found creative ways to be able to express what's really going on in my inner world, and you know, bring it out to the three-dimensional world, and it looks like art, and it looks like different colors, it looks like brands, it looks like, you know, collaborations, it looks like, you know, it looks like what it looks like, but in the end, it all started from those inner quiet moments. They say empires are built in the silence, so I believe in that.
Nice.
So Thomas's favorite segment is coming up. This is like his bread and butter. He has crafted these questions specifically for you and for the audience. So Thomas, I'm going to let you take it away.
Right on. Well, I will have to say that, you know, technology is crazy. I looked up, my green light was gone, and I could hear you guys, but my computer froze, and I was like, these are the powerful questions I want to get to. But this is a three-part question, and it's really super simple. If you could sit down with your high school self in Detroit, knowing everything you know now, what advice would you give him as far as the high school to college experience, college to the NBA?
The first answer I will give him, or make as many decisions for yourself.
Right on.
Stay close to the reasons why you started this whole entire journey.
Awesome.
Don't allow so many people to come in and deter the decisions that you need to make for yourself. That's one thing that I could look back on and know for sure. Like, if I had the opportunities to like really keep my decisions without allowing everybody else to kind of come in and, that made things a bit trickier. So yeah, let me turn this off. My bad. Yep.
I thought that was a alarm for us. Aaron, our time's up. Mo's had enough of us.
No.
Oh, no, it's all good. It's all good.
I love it. We all need alarms. I said plenty to keep myself on task, which I think that is such beautiful advice, that I think in today's day and age is so hard, is how do you help center yourself and be able to make decisions for yourself and have the right guidance around you, but not be swayed by the externalities and a lot of people with a lot of different competing interests. I mean, we see that, I think, more now than ever, I think, with the NIL, money and stuff like that. Like, there's no longer just your vested interest. There's a lot of parties' vested interests.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can only imagine nowadays with so many different opportunities and the branding, like you said, the NIL, social media alone is giving youth and young basketball players opportunities to make millions of dollars before they even think about college. So I can only imagine, like, man, I'm sure it's a whole different ball game.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right, Aaron, rock and roll.
Okay, this is the lightning round where I get to ask discipline equals, and you just give me your quick response. You get to finish my sentence. So are you ready?
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Discipline equals
joy.
Leadership equals
allowing.
Faith equals
big rewards.
Legacy equals
impact.
Nice.
Love it. So final two questions for me. One thing you'd never compromise on.
I would never abandon my soul. At this point, I just can't abandon my soul. If it doesn't bring me a great deal of joy and inspiration, it's just something that I feel like it goes against the integrity of my soul at this point.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Yeah.
It takes a while to figure that out, kids. So just so you know, we're a much older group here, but listen, keep the advice from this guy, guys. I trust all of us. I think I can speak safely for all of us. What's one message you'd put on the billboard for the next generation? One word on a billboard or one message.
One word. Imagination.
Imagination.
Imagination. Yeah, it creates worlds.
Kids, spend some time alone. Imagine. Have playtime. I love it.
Well,
daydream. Do all of that cool stuff.
That's a good one. Mo, before we wrap up, I know that you've had an illustrious career both on and off the court. Is there anything that we didn't touch on today that you feel like athletes at any level need to hear?
Become your own best friend.
Okay.
Become your own best friend. I would say relinquish any ideas of expectations over others if you don't have an agreement with them. If you have an agreement with somebody to do this, do that, and okay. But don't have expectations on others outside of yourself. Just continue to show up knowing that you're going to be the greatest version of you. You're going to be yourself. You're going to be authentic. You're going to be genuine. Don't expect nothing from nobody else, because, just to kind of extend that a bit. I think a lot of guys struggle with the ideas of once they're done with basketball or they're moving on in life that they expect the same people that was with them to stick around. But the truth is those people were around you because you guys had a common interest. So therefore, if you're moving on to other areas in your life, music, becoming a chef, becoming a doctor, or whatever it is, you can't expect the same people to have the same exact interest moving forward. So therefore, don't take it so personal, because in the end, the things that brought you guys together, it's not the main thing that kept you guys together. So that's one thing I learned over these years. I stopped taking that so personal, because in the end, hey, not everybody's meant to go to the length of the journey with you. So, manage your expectations. It'll save you a lot of grief over the years.
I get that.
Yeah.
Where can people connect with you and support what you're building? I'm sure you have a social media handle. Do you have a website?
Yeah, absolutely. I have the website right here. It's Moe Ager Show.shop. We got the fall sale going on. So if you want to go in there and get 25% off shop till you drop, go ahead and tap in over there. We got everything from music, clothing, consulting. It's a one-stop shop. All right. And my social media is Moe Ager, MoeAger. Tap in. I'm always dropping messages daily and adding as much value to you as I possibly can.
Awesome. Okay, guys. Instagram, Moe Ager, MoeAger. That's at MoeAger. And you can find him at his website, www.moeagershow.shop. All right,
Yes,
team. Mo, we can't thank you enough for coming out. ERIN, take us home.
I just want to thank you again for sharing your story, for sharing your truth. If this conversation challenged you, inspired you, or made you to think differently, we want you to do two things. We want you to share the episode with somebody that needs to hear it, an athlete, a parent, a coach, a leader. We, too, want you to connect with Mo. Thomas just read those out. Again, Instagram is at Moe Ager, or on Facebook, or head to the Moe Ager Show.shop and hit up his great sale that he has going on. If you're a parent, athlete, or coach ready to raise your standard, check out Blueprint to Blue Chip at blueprintbluechip.com. We help athletes build identity, discipline, and legacy that goes beyond the game. And if you're ready to get clear on who you are becoming beyond the game, join us for our free 5-day reset, again at blueprintbluechip.com. It's designed for athletes or who are ready to rebuild their foundation. And if this episode resonates with you, take 30 seconds, leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or Spotify. It helps us reach more athletes, parents, and leaders who need this message. This is the Standard Podcast, and this movement only grows when we raise the bar together. Talent fades, but truth endures. Raise the bar, raise the culture, become the standard. See you all next time.
Awesome.